Yes, mate. Mr. Trick in the building with the incredible Spencer
What's
Ramsay.
up, man? How's it going?
Yes, all good, bro. Welcome to the Mr. Trick podcast. Slash track breakdown
Yeah, yeah.
that we're gonna do on our tune that we worked together. And before we get into that, I want to know a bit more about you. I know about you, but let's tell the people that don't. Who are you?
Well, I'm Spencer Ramsay. Yeah, I'm 19, and I started making tunes when I was like probably like 13, 14, something like that. And just because my dad and my brothers, they all sort of do music. My dad used to be a DJ. Then my big brothers, I've got two big brothers, and they both like produce as well. So I kind of just like copied them and started making tunes as well, and just kind of slowly got a bit better and better. And now doing big tunes with you and stuff. So it's pretty cool, eh?
Oi, oi. And so what was it that so it was your dad that got you into the music and your brothers and your family sort of thing?
Yeah, because it was always just kind of music was always kind of a thing around the house. It was just kind of always, and it's always dance music most of the time as well. So it's just kind of a thing I'm used to doing.
Mm. So what was your dad DJing? What sort of music?
Um, like more like house music kind of stuff, but a bit of everything.
Yeah,
I think you like DJs like weddings and stuff sometimes as well. So that kind of stuff as well, just like pop tunes and whatever.
yeah. So are you? I think it's a good question. Is like, are you more of a house producer or are you more of a drum and bass producer, or a bit of both?
Um, well, I go through like stages where I'll be like for like 2 weeks I'll be like doing house tunes. Then I'll be doing drum and bass the next 2 weeks. Then I'll be doing like just like some random stuff, like just like I kind of switch in between. So my releases are a bit random sometimes. So you don't really know what I'm gonna release.
So you got. I heard like some. You've created this kind of new style. I don't know if it's new or just it's like an offshoot of, and you've called it like bounce.
Yeah, well that was just like a thing. It kind of I started doing that. Well, it's kind of like a thing in Scotland and stuff like kind of donk and all that kind of stuff. And I done a bounce remix of my own tune just to promote my
Yeah,
tune.
yeah.
I think those tunes go off on SoundCloud.
What was that? What's that song?
It was Love with You. It was like
Yeah.
my first tune I had like an actual record deal with. So then I started doing it just to promote my records, and then it's kind of just like turned into a thing where I'll get asked to do like bounce remixes and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. So when you like a remix of a remix, effectively,
Yeah,
and
pretty
the
much.
remix of the remix does better than the original.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
those
know them.
random things.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories about people just doing edits of edits, or like, you know, like Killer P, for instance. I was just watching did a tune, and it was just like a freestyle on a radio show, and then everyone watched it and was like, "This should be a tune," and then they were like, "Okay," and yeah, so it kind of happened semi organically, effectively.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of those random sort of things you don't predict happen and then you end up doing it. And then it's cool.
Nice, nice, and you, I don't know how you and me got in touch with each other.
It was
How did that
you,
happen?
you,
Oh, I
you,
remember.
you
Yes.
DM me on SoundCloud actually, not even Instagram or anything. It was
Yes.
on SoundCloud.
Yes, because it was the Beat Goes On tune
Yeah.
was doing bits, and my label Swinger Bass has Extra Medium and Wobble release Beat Goes On as part of this compilation.
All right.
And then we have it on our YouTube channel, and then suddenly the numbers spiked up, and I was like, how's that happened? And
Hmm.
then I researched it, and then these people were like, an old lady brought me here. I was like, who's this old lady? And then I found out that that was like D&B Granny or
Like
something like
Mom and Bass.
Mum and Bass. Yeah, so it was Mum and Bass. So I went on there, and I was like, this isn't Beat Goes On, like Extra Medium and Wobble. It's
Yeah.
another version.
Hmm.
And then I found out your version, and I was like, there's so many versions of this song. And
Wait,
then
so there
yeah,
was another version that was like related to you somehow?
I haven't touched the tune.
No, like with your like label and stuff for swing and bass.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't
that
even
was,
know
mate,
that.
this is the whole thing. If we did it first, we did
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
we like it was Extra Medium and Wobble,
Right.
WBBL.
Right.
They did Beat Goes On, and Beat Goes On went viral with your version and then the Campbell version,
Yeah, then there was
and
like
then it was all just
two
huh?
other versions as well. Because we all got there was like three tunes released on the same day with the same sample as it.
How does that happen?
TikTok. Because the
What?
original tune blew up on TikTok and all the labels are like, let's jump on this.
Oh, really? Everyone was like, you need to do this version.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, me and Extra Medium have got a tune coming out soon, but I'm just gonna pause that there, and I'll say you'll find out sooner or later.
No
But
plug.
that's huh?
Got a wee plug there.
Yeah, we bug. But it's yeah, it's not out yet. But like, I was really yeah. So I discovered you, messaged you, and then you sent me a couple of tunes, including this.
Mhm.
And let's have a listen to the original, which I've got up here in the project.
I wrap the towel around me and I open the door, and in a splish splash, I jump back in the bath. Well, how was I to know there was a party going on? There was a splishing and a splash, and rhythm with the beat, and moving and a groove, and rocking and a rolling. Yeah! Bing bang, I saw the whole gang dancing on my living room floor. Yeah.
Yeah. So I heard that and was like, yo, this is sick. And I wanted to work with it. But it's interesting because listening to it now, you can hear the difference, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you just took the vocals straight over.
Yeah, I just kind of went with the tune. Like I think I looked into what the bass line of the tune was and just kind of
Yeah.
followed that with the bass
Yeah.
line.
Yeah. With that and these 808s.
Yeah.
And how like the funny thing about this tune is I've never heard it before. Well, how did you come across it?
I'm not sure. I think because I'd heard it before. I'm not sure where. Like if I seen it in a movie or something. I don't honestly don't remember. I must have just been on SoundCloud looking for like old tunes to sample. Just be,
There's an episode in Sesame Street where they do it
hmm,
apparently. Um, but yeah, it was really really cool, and I was like, yeah, I can mess with this. And I think I then took that to yeah, I can't. Oh, so I did like a foghorn.
yeah, I was about to say that. There was a different drop before, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did a foghorn drop. I
It's
don't know
like
if I have it.
it's where the
In,
foghorn was like a brass instrument though. It sounded like mad.
yeah. So basically, on this original, there's like a, and I thought that
Oh
sounded
yeah.
like a fog.
Dancing on my living room floor,
And it was like,
moving and a groove, and rocking and a rolling. Yeah!
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I was gonna
That's
make a
mad that you thought
foghorn
that as
out of
well.
that, and then I sent that to a few mates. Have have you got a bro test? Do you do bro testing?
Well, you send it to people.
Yeah, you say, what do you think of this? And then they say, like, yeah, no, that's not the one. Or yeah, sick. Like, do you do that?
No, I should though. I should like.
Yeah, man. It's really important. I did that bro test with it, people. And yeah, the foghorn thing. So yeah, this this channel was the foghorn thing. And I merged it with the sax sample. I don't know what this is gonna sound like. Oh, lovely. That's not the foghorn sound, but it was somewhere. I don't think I have it on this project anymore.
No.
But yeah, they were just like, nah. So then I kind of switched it to kind of the dread bassy sound.
Yeah,
Like for me, one of my biggest inspirations is Rip Groove Double 99,
yeah,
and that I've called it Wub Wub, and it was just basically very simple, zero pre
boom.
dreads, yeah. So that was a sound like dreads song,
Yeah,
dread bass, and then I just started messing with the LFO on here, as you can get all sorts of different like variations. Real simple bass line there. And yeah, oh, also then went for the old school kind of, DJ Zinc, super sharp shooter. That's
Yeah.
kind of that sound. And I think for me, it was all like, I like the funness of the record, and I was like, cool, let's make this like almost a little bit silly, but still have a fat bass line. And it kind of worked. And then obviously you mentioned before I had the brass hits, which are these came from like a tune from back in the day. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it was like electronic brass sound. So I wanted that kind of smash attack, so to speak. And then there was also like some string hits. I can't remember where they have gone. These brass hits. And then as it progressed, it went into I had these kind of random brass samples that I've sampled in the past, like very low down there. And yeah, just gave it the kind of the attack. I think there's like brass hits in Badadan as well, but I don't know if Badadan came out by then. But that's got a similar kind of vibe in the kind of impact.
You hear a lot of tunes with that sort of stuff going on at the minute.
Yeah. And then just like, I think I kept so you originally did like an 808 sound on the bass line. And I was like, all right, I want to keep some of that element in there. So you had, is this? But I did them like nice and high. And I'm using the classic massive on that one. But 808s, I always try and get them to kind of cut through and not be too low and like invisible. So the old Camel Crusher on that bad boy brings it out. And yeah, I think that's kind of how I kind of switched it up from your version. I obviously kept the kick rolls because I think they're quite dominant in a lot of your tunes, right?
Yeah.
This was also on The Beat Goes On, wasn't it? And what's that? Is that just like a kick drum filtered?
Oh, yeah, it's a kick drum with a high pass.
Yeah. It is really cool. It's like, I think it's almost very simple, but really effective.
Yeah.
Like, I feel sometimes people can do fills and just make them so complicated and massive that it just gets silly. And something as simple as that is like, okay, something's coming. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
And so drums wise, I got your kick in there. Where'd you get that kick from? Is it anything specific?
It's probably a Boo sample pack, actually.
Boo?
Yeah. He had like 2 sample packs on his Patreon ages ago.
I don't do anyone's Patreon.
You hear a lot of his samples and tunes. You're like, I know that's from, which sample pack that's from.
Nice. So Boo is the guy for Spencer Ramsay vibes. Snare. Yeah, kept that snare. That snare smashes you in the face. That is, it's so crisp. These chops, did I use some of these? Oh yeah, you started sampling those, the kind of splish splash sounds. That was cool. I just ended up using that in the beginning. And then the break was really cool as well. What's this? Is that the chopper? I can't remember the name of that break, but like, I think that's a chopper break, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then a think break on the top.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not think break, is it? Something else. But yeah, so got that. And so yeah, the drums are pretty fat. Let's look at the drums. I was very happy with them. They're quite simple, but like, I think what works about this tune is like the groove of everything coming together. And I'm really, really happy with it. So had that with the breaks. I put a little bit of Isotope Trash on the top. I mean, a bit. That's quite a lot. Crunchy Grunge and a bit of Clip Control and a bit of dynamic EQing. I've saved that as splash drums, splish drums even. Probably a bit of minor roll off, and that was it with them. Just some basic EQing. I think that break you gave me was a little bit wide.
Yeah, I remember them being super wide. Yeah.
Yeah, so brought that down a fraction, which is cool, and then just the mix between that and the kick and snare was just like, sometimes it's so simple, but I feel sometimes you can overcomplicate it. Basic, like sometimes you like layer stuff, and you're like, actually less is more sometimes. And I think that kind of came from the kick and snare being so like nicely chosen. And then I added this random D&B fill here.
Nice.
Yeah. Some Camel Crusher again on that one. So yeah, just mad simple. And yeah, so we've looked at the bass sound, the drums. I mean, the breakdown. So what happened was the tune, obviously we released it on TikTok and SoundCloud stuff. It did really well. And I don't know if many people know this, but you have to get the song replayed. So we have to get every sample that we used from the original re-recorded. So I worked with two people, Joe Rodwell, who basically played the guitar parts, which is very subtle in the mix, and then did this guitar rig on there, real simple stuff. And then he did the piano part as well, which is this. Oh, something also we have forgot to mention is I pitched the whole thing up by 3.
Yeah.
And because I think I was a bit inspired by your kind of like chipmunky vocal effects. And I feel like there's a lot of that going on with your production, that it's like, so I pitched it up by 3, which sounded cool. I thought it brought a new energy to the song. So when we came to re-record it, I was like, well, I want to record it at the original pitch and then pitch it up. So we did the same with the piano here, you can see, just to try and create the replay to sound as close to the bootleg. Oh, and that was something that was quite interesting, is it went out of time in the piano part of the original. And so when we come to do this live with the band, the band are looking at me like, bro, what's going on here? But I'm like, I was trying to keep it like the original. So when you hear it, listen to this. The timing just goes off ever so slightly. And then, yeah, Joe was on the sax. Sax was pretty cool. Again, fairly simple. Used the trash to again on that. Tap saturation in the bottom makes a massive difference, like in terms of how far forward it is in the mix. And then a bit of side widener on that just to make it wider. And then some Prince Hall reverb. But yeah, basically we recorded that, and then we did live drums that were on the record as well. It was difficult because they're really bad. It sounds really bad, but it works within the mix.
I remember we had to do a Zoom to try to figure out how to do the drums. We were like, because remember that Yeah, rhythm. You didn't have it at first, and we're like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
I had to add those wee chops in.
it's not that bit, it's these bits. It's
Yeah,
kind of a clappy thing. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a really lame snare. Like trying to get that. Do you know what I really want to get is a really crap sounding snare drum. Like it's the opposite of how producers want to work. And yeah, I think we got there. It was it was very, very top heavy and bright. So I used this snap that brightens stuff really, really well on the top. So you know what I mean? It has that top kind of shimmer that the original had that was cool. Enveloper just to give it a bit of room kill. Yeah, basic stuff. Oh, I've got well into using this wave shaper just so you can see the transients and you can see it. You can see all the attacks and everything going on. Super helpful. Again, gone into trash with that one. Bit of tape saturation with the splish drums. And also added some static as well, just to make it a bit more vintage. Super subtle, but trying to give it that old-fashioned vinyl. Again, Joe did the bass. Classic Protec on the bass, just to give it nice warmth on the low. Like, take that off on. You probably, it's very detailed, very, very subtle. Yeah, and Pro Q3 side chaining it with the kick. Not in that bit though. It's in the with the main kick, so it will happen there. Perhaps. Yeah, and now the vocals. Now we got Andrew Bourne, who is part of a group I think called the Four Tops. Oh, I can't remember. Four Tenors. Can't remember. But they're like a classic kind of swing crooner, kind of Frank Sinatra type group. They went on ITV's X Factor and stuff like that, or Britain's Got Talent, one of them. And someone recommended me him, and I listened to his stuff. We had our studio session with him, and we were listening to loads of Bobby Darin, like interviews with him, and trying to get him to sound as close to Bobby Darin as possible. And we were saying, look, I'm really sorry. I know you're an artist in your own right, but can you be somebody else? just be this American dude. And he literally sounds like Donald Trump when we were listening to all these interviews, and it was just, the inflection of where he put everything. And to be honest, I mean, what did you think? How close do you think he is?
Long about a Saturday night, yeah. A rubber dub just relaxing in the tub, thinking everything was all right.
There was a lot of processing going on with his vocals. I think, is this the original?
Was taking a bath. Was taking a bath. Long about a Saturday night, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember that. I was trying to play the original, but I had the original somewhere. And I time stretched it up and tried to get it all on grid. Loads of processing going on with Neve trying to get that. We even researched into how they recorded it live at a studio in America. Oh gosh, testing my knowledge and researched that. Got the Neve in there.
Was taking a bath. Long about a Saturday night. Yeah. Just relaxing in the tub.
Look at this random EQ.
Was all right.
I matched EQ with the original. So you can basically send it for a side chain. You hit this, you select whichever channel it is on, and if it's just side chain, it'll be at the top. You can go directly. You can put a Pro Q3 Fab filter on whatever channel it is, and it will come up here. And then you hit match EQ, and then select whatever it is, for instance, sidechain, and then you play it for a bit, and you hit match EQ, and then you can choose the amount that you're putting on it. And it's fascinating. It's so good at trying to emulate the same frequencies. And then what was it doing on here? Just a little bit of a high boost as well, trying to get like quite an analog sound. And then there's just a tiny dip there again. And then I'm busting it again to another vocal channel. Okay, that was it. So I tried to get this track sounding like the original, and that was it. And then what I'd done is I'd put it into this channel again. So it was like a process of a process, trying to get the sound to the original, and then what I'd done with it. Yeah, and what I'd done as well on these vocals in Ableton, I pitched them up by 3. So singing, I don't think Andrew could actually sing this up there because he's a baritone. So yeah, that's the tune. That's the whole breakdown. I think that's everything. And I don't know, what do you think is like the reason for this success, or what's your favorite bit of this tune?
I think it's just the kind of not like shock factor, but it's the fact that it's that song from the 60s and then it just drops into that bass line. I think it's just, and it's not like it's a heavy bass line, but it's not overly heavy. So people like are not used to drum and bass can hear it and still like it. But it's still like a kind of a shock to the system. I'm like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah. And I played it out on Saturday at Hootenanny's Brixton for Dub Tendo, mate. Have you seen the video? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, the reaction was incredible. Somebody said it was the biggest reaction of the night, but I'm not saying that.
Someone said
Yeah, did say that. And yeah, just to also mention that I got this kind of spring reverb on that I paid. I think it was like, I've got to get my references right, but it was a Capital kind of chamber reverb, and we had to get hold of that from Capital Studios. Is it Capital Studios?
one of them.
Yeah, one of them. But it was like that. This is the exact reverb that they used in that studio. And I think we got a trial for 30 days because we were just like, we just want that quick thing. And the other thing to mention is that the master I did was very similar to what Kevin Tuffy did. And I sent him my master, and then I sent them this, and I was like, I didn't mean use my master as a reference. And he went, no, I didn't. Your master's like really good, and I didn't have to do much, which is like such a kind of like eureka yes moment as a producer. You're like, if my stuff is good enough for commercial release, like with the other guys, like I've done it. And I would never call myself a mastering engineer. And I've just done it with 2 plugins. And which is the old Spam. And I actually went on it says Point Blank 2. So I used one of their tutorials initially and tweaked it. I just boosted the bass, dynamic multi-band dynamic compression, and then harmonic exciter, which I've used this like add spark mids and sides, and then just cut some of the low width, raised a bit of the mid and high, and then the maximizer, and that was it. And then the badass Pro L Fab Filter, which is dangerous. You could really start like adding loads of distortion, but then you start playing the loudness wars. And and I only go over like 3 dB.
Splish Splash, I jumped back in the bath.
As a
When
kind
I
of
was out,
rule.
know there was a party going on. It was
See, that's like -2.6. It's doing it, but if I start going in, it just becomes silly. And also, you've got, you know, the maximizer is doing its thing, and the Pro L is. And I've had conversations with producers where they're like, just use a little bit there and a little bit there and a little bit there, rather than just using one plugin to boost it all. You just do little incremental amounts. Also, what I was really, really happy with this tune is I use a producer called Ahi's template. It's like a routing template. So what it is that I send it. So chain 1 is just the bass, kick, and snare. So just the kind of meat of the tune, and then you've got the next bus is the sound effects, the top drums, so like the breaks, and the melodic elements like the instruments. So it's all the kind of the mids and the tops. So they're on 2 separate channels, and then both of them have got limiters on. So it's going back to what I was saying about like making these small incremental. They're not doing anything, but they're controlling these 2 elements and go, right, you sit there and you sit there, and then they go to a pre-master, and basically that's just the instrumental, and that's like, right, now you just sit there, and then the vocals sit on top of that. So that's over the top. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that correctly? Yeah. So it was, and I've done that with a couple of tunes, and it really just suddenly you go, well, I've got all this space to play with because you've squashed those elements. Is this something you do, or have you never heard of this, or am I just repeating it myself? It's cool. A guy called Ahi on YouTube. I'm looking over there because I've got the template written up. And apparently this is what Skrillex does on his tunes. And, you know, why not share knowledge and repeat what people have already come up with? I think it's brilliant, and I think it really, really works. And then on the I've done no incremental gains, but sometimes I do push these things, because suddenly you then go to your master, which I use on Span, and you might go, actually, like, instead of going through fine tuning everything, I'm just going to bring up the melody, or the instrumentation of the track, because the meat of it is too much, or vice versa. And you've then got 3 things to play with. Right. That's the tune: vocals, melody, instruments, kick, bass, and snare. And it's just such a great setup once you've done the tune. It's kind of like, you know, how I think dub producers are effectively, they've gone, right, I've grouped everything here, I've got my drums there, I've got my rhythm, and you can then have fun with it and get the general vibe. So yeah, I think that's the whole tune. Oh, I really like this silly little, I don't know if you noticed this little water droplet.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, and I heard it earlier.
Yeah. And also I had to, because we had to replay the whole song, I was like, where am I going to get the beginning water sound? I recorded that. Thank you very much. Mad skills. That was featuring my tap in my bathroom. Yeah. So I think that's the whole tune, really. Big up to everyone involved in this tune. When is it out, Spencer?
23rd February.
Yes, 23rd of Feb, baby. Are you excited?
Of course. It's been like, how long has it been?
Too long. It's like almost, I think, 8 months.
Yeah, something like that.
And I mean, the reaction when it came out was mental. I was sitting here doing my little thing, and actually the night before I DJ'd out in Brighton, and I didn't want to play it because I didn't think it was good enough. Because you know how I said about the bro check thing,
Yeah,
you send the songs to your mate. I got no reaction from them, and I think, and then I put it up on TikTok, and it did really well. And I think that's kind of a kind of justice to like listen to your heart sometimes rather than what your mates think.
Yeah.
So it's out on the 23rd of Feb on all streaming platforms. Shouts to everyone involved behind that, Helena and Simon and everyone at Virgin. Very exciting times. There's nothing really else to say apart from we've got a visualizer that's really cool. Shouts to Michael as well for doing the original artwork. I might drop. We're really, really excited about that. Spencer, I just want to finish off with, apart from Splish Splash, have you got any other tunes that you're looking forward to or have coming out that you're allowed to tell us?
Not really, because nothing's really solid at the minute. It's kind of just like a bunch of ideas floating around, and we're trying to get these tunes sorted. There's one tune that should be coming out with electrical sound system soon, but I've got no idea when.
Nice.
So
Electrical sound system, their setup is nuts.
yeah, is it?
Have you seen it? Yeah.
No, it's a Scottish thing as well.
Mate, the thing, one year at Boomtown, they took up the whole street. And it was just like, whoa, it was so cool. It was like a carnival kind of, just came out of nowhere. So it was like a street in Boomtown. I think it was Uptown. And then you're like, yeah, cool. Whoa. It was just like, doosh, like, I don't know, 15 big ass speakers and just like everyone just having it. But I didn't know they put out tunes. I mean, obviously, like,
yeah, they've just launched like a label, so it's like a new thing. I think it's with D&B All Stars or something. I'm not quite
yeah,
sure.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, thanks, man. Really appreciate this, and I'm super excited. We're also doing some more tunes together, aren't we?
Yeah.
I can't give you. I haven't had time to work on them yet, but I definitely.
We've both got tunes of each other's that we haven't started working on yet.
Yeah, sort it out, mate. Sort it out. I mean, this, to be honest, like, let's just get this one over the line, and we see how we get on. But yeah, Spencer, thanks very much, and let's keep this going.
Cheers.